Pokemon Platinum was one of the Pokemon games released by Game Freak. In fact, it was released so much that it even came out on the DS, selling at least 20 copies at my local Game Crazy. And despite it being one of Nintendo's top sellers for Wii U, people still have a lot of unanswered questions about Pokemon Platinum. One of the most prolific questions burdening gamers everywhere is more hypothetical than concrete. Is it even possible to beat it? Especially if you only use Pokemon? For most people throughout history, the answer would be a resounding no. Until today. That's right, today I'll be attempting a Pokemon Platinum Pokemon only run. The rules for this run are simple. 1. I can only use Pokemon that I find in the wild or receive as a gift in the game. 2. If a Pokemon faints, it is considered unusable until I either use a revive on it or fully heal it at a Pokemon Center. 3. I must nickname every Pokemon I catch if I want it to have a nickname. 4. None of my Pokemon can exceed the level cap of 100 before the champion fight. And 5. Battle style will probably remain on Switch. Pokemon Platinum is a hard game, including some difficult fights like Cynthia and... Does my team of underdogs have what it takes to conquer the Sinnoh region and become champions of the Pokemon League? Or will Pokemon Platinum all over us? One way or another, the run begins now. Right off the bat, we get to pick our starter Pokemon. In this game, you have the choice between Turtwig, Chimchar, and Piplup. In this kind of run though, Turtwig is the obvious choice. Chimchar has great speed and a useful stab combination, Piplup has great defensive typing and decent bulk and power, but Turtwig has the distinct advantage of turning into a really cool guy with a tree on his back when he evolves, so I end up going with him. On the way to Rourke, I end up catching a Starly, a Shinx, and a Ponyta. I'm a little nervous going into the Rourke fight, but I'm confident that with the right strategy, I can pull off a win. The fight against Rourke begins, and I'm already sweating, as Mr. Turtle the Grottle starts the fight missing 8 whole health points. Thankfully, I thought of a clever workaround. I ran the calcs, and it turns out that Mr. Turtle can get a sneaky one-shot with Absorb, healing him back to full in the process. Unfortunately, I made a major strategic blunder. I forgot to edge my Pokemon to the next level, so unfortunately, Mr. Turtle is left at level 18. This has me extremely worried for Onix. My fears are immediately validated as Onix comes in and nails Mr. Turtle with a massive rock throw, doing huge damage and putting my entire plan in jeopardy. Thankfully, Mr. Turtle somehow ekes out another KO with Absorb. It's looking dicey, but this run might just be saved. I brace myself as Cranidos is sent out. Now I'm very worried here, because Cranidos has Mold Breaker. I have absolutely no idea what that means, but given that the game feels the need to let me know, this could get dangerous. Cranidos attacks. We take the hit, but Mr. Turtle whiffs his Razor Leaf. I was absolutely heartbroken when this happened. With 5 flinches and crits in a row, Cranidos threatens a KO on my entire team. It all rests on this next turn. And Cranidos goes for Leer. Whether it was sheer dumb luck or the AI giving me a break, we'll never truly know. But with this, Mr. Turtle is able to stabilize the situation and take Cranidos out with a super effective tackle, winning us a tough battle. With Rourke out of the way, our adventure is only just now starting. Next, I set my sights on Gardenia in Eterna City. Not much of note happens between these two fights, so we'll just skip right to the second gym battle. Gardenia leads off with her Turtwig into the now fully evolved Mr. Turtle. Now, I've watched enough of the Pokemon anime to know that this is a horrible matchup for Mr. Turtle, as the smaller Turtwig will undoubtedly be faster and harder to hit. By some miracle, Mr. Turtle is able to connect with a bite, which gets the flinch despite being just shy of the one-shot. Now Cherrim, thankfully, isn't a threat, so we're able to take it out easily, but we aren't out of the woods yet. Gardenia's final Pokemon is Roserade, which if you know anything about Pokemon Platinum, you'll realize is actually a fully evolved Pokemon. A fully evolved Pokemon this early in the game can be a huge threat, and my team is not really built to take it on. We are officially in crisis mode. Thankfully, I was able to come up with a strategy to avoid taking any major damage. Roserade is actually part poison type, meaning that Earthquake will do neutral damage to it. But of course, if Roserade hits us with a critical hit Ice Beam, that could throw a wrench in my plans. But it's the best we've got, and I just had to cross my fingers. The turn begins, and Mr. Turtle manages to outspeed and kill the Roserade in one hit, narrowly avoiding a complete wipe. By the skin of our teeth, my motley crew manages to squeeze out another hard-fought victory. Of course, in this challenge, it can only get harder from here. Our next stop is Hearthome City, home of Fantina, the Ghost-type gym leader. Our team is looking a little weak to Ghost types, so before we head into the gym, I grab a Gibble from Wayward Cave. With Gibble on the team, I'm now feeling a lot more confident going into this battle. Right off the bat, Gardenia leads with Duskull. Thankfully, Duskull is pretty weak, so he managed to get a one-hit KO without losing too much HP. Next up is Mismagius, who can be a real problem with its powerful Shadow Balls. I ran the calcs, and I'm not gonna lie, it's tight. We have a 50-50 chance of dying to Shadow Ball here. I really thought catching Gibble would improve our chances in this fight, but I'm seeing now that couldn't be further from the truth. If Mismagius sees the KO, things will get out of hand quickly. Shadow Ball connects, and Mr. Turtle breaks through. By the skin of his giant tortoise teeth, he manages to get the one-shot with a high damage roll, but we're still not out of the woods yet. Haunter comes in. If Mr. Turtle doesn't KO with Bite, we're at risk of a one-hit KO from Haunter's sheer cold attack, a move it is well known for using often. Bite connects, and Mr. Turtle does it. Wow, things could have gotten really hairy there if it wasn't for our good luck at the end. Thankfully, our next fight is a lot less scary, and in more ways than one, since we're on our way out of the Ghost Gym. But you know what else is scary? Having stinky feet. But thankfully, you don't have to worry about that anymore with the help of today's sponsor, Socks. Ever wanted to wear shoes but hate how bad they smell whenever you take them off? Well, with the new Socks by Socks, using their patented sock technology, you can wear your shoes for hours with no problem. Socks come in many fun patterns like white and sharks. And the best part is, they're machine washable. You'll love it, your cats will love it, even your damn fish will love it. Use code WAYLORDSOCKS at checkout for a free 50% off your first order, and thank you to Socks for sponsoring today's video. Luckily for us, the game is pretty easy for the next little while. The fights against Maylene, Wake, and Byron all go according to plan, and honestly, they're such clean sweeps that we don't need to spend much time dwelling on them. Instead, we'll skip straight to Candace in Snowpoint City. This fight has the potential to be the scariest yet, but I pulled out all of the stops for my strategy here. First out is Sneasel, who manages to land a nasty ice shard. It looks like this is the end. But unfortunately for the Icy Weasel, I have a trump card. I taught Mr. Turtle Flare Blitz from the move tutor specifically for this fight. Between the super effective damage and the held Haban Berry, which is Mr. Turtle's favorite, he's able to sweep his way through what would otherwise have been a pretty tough fight. The league is looming close, and my team is in high spirits. Unfortunately, those spirits are dashed on the rocks. As I attempt to enter Sunnyshore City, my game completely crashes. Heartbroken, I make the hard call that attempt number 1 has to end here. I'll never forget Mr. Turtle and the team's valiant efforts, but in the end, this time, Sinnoh just proved to be too much for them. But I can't give up here. I can never give up. Never again. This time, we'll win. For my team. With a new fire in my heart, I begin attempt 2 by reloading my save right after I beat Candace. This time, we walk right into Sunnyshore City with no issues, and we're even able to convincingly beat Volkner with Mr. Turtle's Earthquake, because not even 1,000 layers of irony can make this fight seem even slightly tense. With that, we stand before the Pokemon League. We all fought so hard to be here, and those battles have brought me and my team so close together. We're going in, and one way or another, we're going to be champions. With some skillful trainer dodging, I managed to get around the first 4 members of the Elite Four. Unfortunately, before we can sneak into the Hall of Fame, we're spotted by Cynthia, so it's looking like we're going to have to fight. Good thing I just had a 17-hour planning stream to come up with my strategy. I brace myself, and for one final time, Mr. Turtle takes the field. We managed to take Spiritomb by surprise, getting a clean one-shot with Earthquake thanks to a high roll. Next in is Cynthia's Togekiss, no doubt intending to threaten with a powerful Air Slash. Thankfully, I came prepared by doing some more grinding for the move tutor. Mr. Turtle nails Togekiss with a nasty Ice Beam, just barely missing out on the one-shot because my calcs were off. Unfortunately, Mr. Turtle is now subject to a super effective Air Slash, meaning that without some good luck, this could be where the run ends. But Mr. Turtle tanks the Air Slash. This is looking doable. Unfortunately, on the next turn, Cynthia brings in her Milotic, all but sealing her victory. I foolishly deleted Woodhammer for Ice Beam, really hoping that Cynthia would just not use Milotic out of respect. It's honestly really sad, knowing that thanks to one slip-up on my part, we may never see the Hall of Fame. Everything comes down to Mr. Turtle somehow getting a kill on this Milotic before it kills him. And Mr. Turtle gets the one-shot with a clutch Seed Flare. With Milotic out of the way, we're now free to keep wailing on the rest of Cynthia's team. Tragically, when Garchomp comes in next, it manages to outspeed our little turtle and hit with a super effective Flamethrower. Is this the end for our starter Pokemon? Our most staunch ally and loyal companion since the very beginning of the game? Not today, it's not. Mr. Turtle somehow tanks a big hit from Flamethrower and just barely manages a one-shot with Ice Beam using his held Ice Gem. Now we finally have some momentum, and with that momentum, we take the opportunity to kill Roserade in one shot, before it can even hurt Mr. Turtle at all. Sadly, Mr. Turtle's signature Flare Blitz damages him in return, and since Flare Blitz is a fire-type move, that's super effective recoil damage. Is this where Mr. Turtle faints? Nope. Mr. Turtle holds on, ready to take on Cynthia's final Pokemon. Lucario comes in, and I'm instantly hit with anxiety, knowing that if Lucario Mega Evolves and goes for a priority critical hit Blizzard, Mr. Turtle could faint here, and the rest of my team isn't looking too strong into Lucario. Everything in the whole run comes down to Mr. Turtle's last signature Flare Blitz. And we get the one-hit KO. Mr. Turtle takes recoil damage, but he survives, winning us the battle and the run. And with that, the first ever Pokemon-only run of Pokemon Platinum has been completed. Overall, I would say that this was a fun run, but it definitely had its challenges. If it weren't for my insane strategies and also having a calculator that basically plays the game for me, this run could have gone very differently. But thankfully, it didn't. Thank you guys so much for watching. It would mean the absolute world to me if you could like, subscribe, hit the bell, leave a comment, go into all my other videos and watch them in order all the way through, support me on Patreon, become a channel member, follow my Twitter, follow me and sub on Twitch, join my patrons only Discord for $99.95 per month, and you know what? Just send me your credit card in the mail. Just give it to me right now. Just give me your goddamn credit card, you son of a bitch. I'll see you guys next time for the next big challenge run.